Hier ist literaturlaunch.eu. Heute mit. Ich sitze hier vor der Autorin Sofi Oksanen, einer finnisch-estnischen Autorin. Und sie hat das Buch Hundepark geschrieben, welches zum Beispiel in viele verschiedene Sprachen übersetzt worden ist, aber auch hier in Gießen am Stadttheater uraufgeführt worden ist. Wie fühlt es sich an, wenn man weiß, in der Stadt, wo man gerade ist, wird das geschriebene Buch, was man selber geschrieben hat, gerade aufgeführt?
How does it feel to be in the city where the book that you've written is now transformed into a theater piece and has his first visibility on a scene? What's the feeling about that?
Well, of course, I'm happy about the state adaptation, so it's a great pleasure. I'm gonna see a play on Sunday. That is, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard lots of good things about it.
Was mir bei dem Buch sehr aufgefallen ist, war diese Armut in der Ukraine, vor allem von Olenka und von Daria beschrieben. Wie schwierig ist es, so etwas als Autorin so mit viel Feingefühl und so überzubringen?
One thing that was really impressive was how detailed you've described the poverty of the people in Ukraine, especially like Olenka and Daria. Sorry, and how can you or how is it the feeling for you to deep dive into such special circumstances?
Well, I don't know if there are special circumstances. I mean, it's everyday life for ordinary people. Writing is a job. I always say that writing is like acting on paper. So, and I think that is actually a best definition for writing fiction. You have to see the world through your characters.
Michael?
But somehow this book has not only fiction, it has so much things in it that it seems to be real, like it could have happened really. So that is kind of the special thing I had the feeling.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because my job is to create the illusion of reality. But I think one of the best compliments I've had actually about the book was from a Ukrainian refugee who said that when he misses home, he reads my book. And I think that was the most beautiful thing to say.
Yeah.
Es lesen momentan viele Menschen, habe ich das richtig verstanden, die in der Ukraine ihre Heimat verloren haben. Und das ist groß, das ist sehr bösartig.
So it's really a great honor and fantastic to hear that people who read the book and come from Ukraine feel remembered. I mean, that's really fantastic. Sounds fantastic.
Wie viele Frauen in der Ukraine begeben sich zu solchen Aventuren? Also ich habe da echt Angst und Bangen gehabt. Ich hatte das Gefühl, sämtliche gut aussehende Frauen begeben sich in solche Agenturen.
You wrote about those agencies where young women go to. So is there kind of a statistic figure how many are going to such agencies or went to such agency rather? And because he had kind of the impression rather not, but kind of the fear, well, is every well-looking, nice women going to such agencies and get so, misused in the end?
There were no statistics about anything in Ukraine before the Revolution of Dignity in 2014. The authoritarian regimes or corrupt regimes don't like statistics. So that is one of the change that revolution brought that activists and people started to gather information to have the statistics. But unfortunately, this is the business where you don't have reliable statistics because the companies don't give the information. And of course, also because of the traveling program, because the Ukrainian donors and also surrogate mothers can travel. And so they might be, traveling for work and then actually giving birth to the baby, or the donation doesn't take place in Ukraine. Okay. It might take place in Mexico, for example.
Wie ist es eigentlich, dieses Buch in 3 verschiedenen Ländern mehr oder weniger stattfinden zu lassen? Finnland, dann Estland und dann in der Ukraine, speziell in Donbass.
It's very special, and how does it feel when writing that the book is located takes place in 3 different countries, with Estland, Estonia, sorry, Finland, and Ukraine. To jump between the countries.
Well, the jumping between the countries wasn't difficult at all, but now, since the large-scale invasion, it's been difficult to follow the news and to see that the places where my characters have lived have been destroyed, because the meaning of a certain place or a location becomes a bit different when you have imagined your characters living there. So it feels more like, of course, it's not the same as for Ukrainians who are living there, but in a way that it becomes more, it's the home of my characters.
Wie ist es, eine Frau wie Olenka zu beschreiben, mit ihrer Intelligenz und wie sie sich einfach auch zwischen diesen Welten immer wieder bewegt?
How is it to describe or to create a character like Olenka with her high intelligence and the way she's moving between the worlds and the countries?
Well, I wanted to have a character like that because she doesn't have like a proper education, but she's very skillful to learn from the worlds where she goes into, like that she is obviously talented in languages. She immediately absorbs the culture and the language of the country in which she's living. She's trying to learn Finnish as well. So in that way, she's very streetwise character. And I don't, and that is somehow, and I think that also makes her survivor.
Also es ist halt ein sehr spezieller Charakter, war auch diese Lebensweisheit, diese Fähigkeit, sich schnell an ein Land anzupassen, auch dann direkt die Kultur und die Sprache regelrecht aufzusaugen, auch Finnisch lernen zu wollen, dass das halt so eine Art von, halt einfach so eine wirkliche praktische Lebensweisheit dann auch ist und das einfach auch ein wichtiger Punkt ist und dass das so ein Charakter ist, den sie auch da drin haben wollte.
Das ist das, was ich auch.
Genau.
Wie ist es, also Olenka hat ja auch eine Sehnsucht nach Tallinn oder nach Finnland im Besonderen. Warum ist Olenka nicht eigentlich einfach nach Tallinn zurückgekehrt, wo das eigentlich mehr oder weniger das Fass oder die ganzen Probleme eigentlich angefangen haben?
Olenka has a very high drive to go or wish to go back to Tallinn, to Estonia, and also to Finland. But why is she not going back in a book? So why is it not just taking her suitcases going back?
Well, I don't want to give spoilers, so there's a reason why she cannot go back.
Okay.
Okay. Wie ist es gerade auch diese Gegensätze zu beschreiben, ins Nische zum Beispiel mit der
How is it to describe those extreme differences? For example, like in Nische,
mit den illegalen?
with the illegal coal mines. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, so what was the question?
Sorry. How do what was the feeling to write about such big difference? You've got the different locations. Some are very nice, but on the other side you have those illegal coal mines. And so this.
I mean, it's a part of a normal way of life there. So it wasn't. But I mean, I haven't ever been to a coal mine, so I did read descriptions of coal mines and people working in coal mines, of course, and of course nowadays, thanks to digital archives, we have also loads of photos about the mines. So.
Ich fand ja auch, dass zum Beispiel zwischen Olenka und Daria ist so eine intensive, man kann auch sagen Freundschaft oder Freundschaft jetzt nicht unbedingt, aber da ist ja was zwischen Olenka und Daria. Wie ist es so etwas, das Ganze zu beschreiben, dieses Miteinander?
Between Olenka and Daria, there is something special. Friendship seems to be a word too intense or too high for that, but there is some special connection. How does it feel to write such or to create such special interpersonal connection scenarios?
Well, it doesn't differ from any other connection.
Wie viel Macht, ich hatte das Gefühl, in der Ukraine haben solche Oligarchen ja auch sehr, sehr viel Macht. War das jetzt nur in dem Buch so, oder ist es auch wirklich, dass es in der Ukraine auch wirklich immer nichts so ist?
In the book, you've got extreme the view that these oligarchs, like the Familie Kravets, was it? Yeah. They have a very high power and use that. Is that a bit more the literature part or the fiction part, or is that really, facts part in Ukraine? Let's put it pre-war and after war.
Yeah. Before 2014, I think the reality is even worse.
Yeah, just really worse.
Wie wichtig ist es, dass das Buch gerade in Deutschland auch auf die Bühne gekommen ist?
How important is it for you that the book was put on stage, especially in Germany?
Well, Germany is an exquisite theater country, so in that way, I was very happy about production in Germany. But also, I think because Germany. I think Germany understands a bit better than actually many countries the ethical problems in the business, because it is definitely eugenic. And I'm not sure that all countries have that kind of sensitivity to this subject. So in that way, I have a feeling that in some countries, people don't actually even understand where the problem is. So.
That's a really great compliment.
Yeah.
For Germany as a country.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Yeah, because I have a feeling that, because it's this eugeny angle that it doesn't really, I have a feeling that people think in many countries that it's kind of not their problem, even though actually there are every single day, there are actually new citizens to their country, being brought up to the world through a system that is eugenic. And unfortunately, the medical development is offering the possibility for designer babies.
Wie war die Zusammenarbeit oder wann kam die Anfrage von der Intendantin Simone Ster, ob Sie das Ganze auf die Bühne bringen können. Wie war die Zusammenarbeit?
When was the request from Simone Ster to get your book on stage, and how was the cooperation with the Stadttheater Gießen?
Wait a second, I cannot. It was the COVID years when they bought the rights, but I cannot exactly. It was surprisingly fast, but I can't remember the exact date. And I don't want to get involved with adaptation because I want to give the creative team the piece they require and deserve. I don't want to. I mean, it is their work, and I don't. They know. I trust that they know what they do.
Wie gespannt sind Sie am Sonntag dieses Theaterstück also Ihr eigenes Buch auf der Theaterbühne zu sehen?
How curious are you about watching your book as a theater piece on stage on Sundays?
Well, of course, I'm curious, but I have a strong faith in Germany as a theater country. So and besides, I've heard good things about it. So I'm not concerned.
That's good. Curious, but not concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. Was ist für Sie der große Unterschied zwischen Theater, Film und Buch?
What's for you the big difference between the book, the theater piece, and the movie?
Well, I don't write scripts, but I do write plays, and writing plays is very different compared to writing a novel. Of course, already when you think about the pages, I mean, the play has so. I mean, the play is, as a text, it's much smaller than a novel. Then at the same time, that doesn't mean that the contents is smaller. But that means that writing process is different because there's simply the number of characters is smaller. So in that way, there's kind of less, you need to use less time for editing, but that doesn't mean that you have to use less time for thinking. So more thinking for a play and more editing for a novel. But it's very refreshing to write a novel, write a play between the novels, because also the dialogue in a play is different completely. And of course you can highlight different things. I mean, certain things that are interesting in a novel, then they might not be at all interesting in a play.
Wie wichtig ist es Ihnen, besondere Themen oder schwierige Themen in Ihren Büchern auch immer wieder anzufassen? Weil das zieht sich ja bei Ihren Büchern, soweit wie ich das gesehen habe, immer wieder durch. Und ich finde das immer sehr spannend.
How important is it for you to tackle tricky and difficult topics in your books? As far as you saw, there are quite some special topics that are tackled in your books.
Well, if a certain subject theme doesn't bother me, then there's no point in writing a novel. I mean, why do you want to use your time for something that doesn't bother you? So in that way, I think the world is filled with issues or matters I need to know more, and then there's always a possibility for a story to write.
Wie können wir auch, weil wir heute ja auch den Jahrestag haben, das ist leider Gottes von dem Überfall von Russland, wie können wir als Deutsche die Aufmerksamkeit weiter hochhalten oder allgemein die Menschen?
Today it's unfortunately also the anniversary of the Russian attack on Ukraine. What do you think? How can we as Germans or as mankind in general continue get the focus on that topic and raise the topic on a constant level?
Well, I think Germany has loads of tools and experience about how to deal with very complicated issues. So in that way, I think you have huge resources. At the same time, I have to say that Scholz is not the representative of those resources at all. But as a nation, Germany definitely has tools and like a toolkit how to come to terms with the past. I am totally aware that Russia is not interested in using that toolkit, but that doesn't mean that maybe someday, but of course, maybe Germany could also emphasize or make it clear to the others how important the end of impunity must be, simply because, I mean, I'm not sure that everybody actually gets it sometimes, or they just want an easy solution. An easy solution is that the war ends as quickly as possible, and that doesn't that is not any kind of guarantee for a sustainable peace in Ukraine, sustainable peace in Europe, and also because Germany knows so well what it means that if an army is beaten, how they can also come back very fast, and that is something that Germany has experienced. And therefore, it has also the ways to remind the others to understand it, because everybody doesn't really understand it. They think, okay, can we get back to the business? But we cannot if there is the possibility of a new war coming up in the near future. So I mean, even though sometimes Russia's army looks so ridiculous on field, they are doing the mistakes that not a professional army should do. But that doesn't mean that they don't learn from their mistakes. They definitely learn, and that way, that is a very bad future if they come with learning from mistakes and still with the same goal.
Ja, ich danke. Mir hat auf jeden Fall dieses Buch Hundepark das Ukraine, Estland und auch ein bisschen Finnland ein bisschen näher gebracht, und dafür möchte ich einfach Danke sagen.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the book, because it has brought to him Ukraine, Estonia, and Finland a bit closer, and he liked it very much. Thank you.
I thank you, the reader.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Das war's für heute. Bis bald bei der literaturlaunch.eu. Euer